Hi, I'm Kevin, and welcome back to Generation Jones. Here's a question for you. If the economic statistics are good, why do American consumers feel so bad? Economists see a soft landing and strong jobs market. Meanwhile, American consumers use words like dismal and disastrous to describe their own lives. Author Susan Page recently wrote an article about the economic disconnect in the United States. Ask Americans for a word that describes the state of the economy in their lives, and you'll hear a catalog of woe. Horrible, chaotic, sad, struggling, and scary. In a recent Suffolk University Sawyer Business School USA Today poll, 3 in 4 people volunteered words that reflected worry and worse, overwhelming the 1 in 5 who said things were good or improving, or at least fair. Economists have been admiring the strong job market and the soft landing that has eased inflation without tipping into a recession, at least so far. But the view from the kitchen table is considerably less rosy. David Paleologos is the director of Suffolk's Political Research Center, and he says, "My read of the data is this: there's no soft landing." By more than 3 to 1, 70% to 22%, those surveyed said the economy is getting worse, not improving. Well, if the economic statistics are good, why do Americans feel so bad? Here are 5 findings from the survey that help explain the disconnect. The poll of 1,000 people taken by landline and cell phone has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.1 percentage points. Grocery costs are still biting. Is inflation getting better? Americans don't see it. There's a national consensus that the cost of living is still rising. 84% said so. Just 4%, only 4%, said prices were easing, barely above the poll's margin of error. Half of those who see inflation continuing, 49%, cite the cost of food as the biggest culprit. 16% named housing costs, and 11% pointed each to utility bills and the price of gas and other transportation costs. Household debt is up, and savings are down. As Congress debates how to address rising red ink in the federal budget, many families find themselves doing the same. 4 in 10, 39%, said their household debt has increased over the past year, double the 18% who said it had decreased. Nearly 9 of 10 said they don't plan to buy or sell a home in the next 12 months. And the reason, given by more than a third of them, was that they simply can't afford to do it right now. 30% say they've had to cut into their savings to pay their bills, and nearly as many say they've saved less money than usual over the past year. That's a recipe for trouble down the road. The pandemic aid has run out. A 55% majority of the Americans say they received some federal stimulus money or other federal aid during the pandemic. And it mattered to many of them. More than a third of the recipients called it very important to get through the worst time of the pandemic. Another 1 in 4 called it somewhat important. But 3 rounds of stimulus funding are over, and Congress rejected proposals to renew expanded help to pay for child care. That's one reason that the Census Bureau data released showed child poverty more than doubled last year to 12.4% in 2022 from 5.2% in 2021. New clothes and evening out? Forget about it. Most Americans have cut back on some of life's pleasures because of the concerns about the economy. About 7 in 10 are going out to eat less and spending less on clothes. Nearly 6 in 10 are delaying home improvements and canceling vacations. More than half are spending less on groceries, and are trying to save on electricity costs by dialing back the settings on their home thermostats. Meanwhile, those with lower incomes are getting hammered. Americans who earn less than $50,000 a year have been hardest hit. They're most likely to see their savings being snapped and their household debt increase. More of them receive pandemic aid than those with higher incomes, and that assistance was more important to them in making ends meet. There were twice as likely as high-income households, those making more than $100,000 a year, to report cutting back on spending on groceries. What's more, lower-income households were most likely to say that a member of their family had an addiction problem involving drugs, alcohol, or gambling. In that situation and the strains it can bring affected 24% of those making less than $50,000 a year, compared to 14% of those earning more than $100,000 a year. So, what do you think? Are better days on the horizon, or are hard times here for good? Please leave a comment in the comment section down below, and click the like button if you've liked the video, and consider subscribing to Generation Jones today. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with me. I hope we can get together again really soon. Until then, please take care.